welcome back to The Explainer. All right, today we are diving deep into a seriously chilling story, one that takes place at this desolate train station. We're talking betrayal, supernatural revenge, and the restless spirits of two sisters who were murdered. So picture this. It's 3 in the morning, dead silent on this train platform. The train has stopped, but nobody, and I mean nobody, dares to get off. Then you hear this old man whisper a warning to another passenger, and right away, you know something is very, very wrong. Yeah, the tension here is just thick. You can almost feel it. The train is basically a metal box of safety, but it's stuck at a station that everyone is terrified of. People have literally sealed their windows shut and are just praying for the train to start moving again. All you can hear is the wind howling outside. But, there's always one, right? A young guy named Raghav, traveling with his family, he thinks this is all just ridiculous. He looks out the window, sees an old lady selling tea and a garbage collector, and just scoffs at the whole thing. He's thinking, superstitions? Come on. So he's thirsty, and maybe feeling a little cocky, and he decides, you know what, I'm gonna get a cup of tea. He slides that window open and reaches out, just a totally normal, everyday thing to do. Except, it's about to be the last thing he ever does. And this is where it gets terrifying. I mean, it happens in a split second. The moment that tea seller's hand grabs his wrist, her friendly face just melts away. It becomes something monstrous, something predatory. And just like that, he's trapped. Raghav doesn't even have a second to react. The garbage collector is suddenly right there, with a weapon raised. A scream gets cut short. The other passengers, all they can do is listen in absolute horror as these two figures show their true evil nature. It's just this brutal, shocking explosion of violence that confirms every single one of their fears. Okay, so what in the world is going on here? Where does this kind of horror even come from? To get to the bottom of what happened to Raghav, we've actually got to go back in time. We need to hear the story of two orphan sisters, Rita and Sita, who came to this exact same station months before. This timeline just lays out the absolute tragedy of their last few hours. They were alone, their parents had just died, and all they wanted was to stop for a quick cup of tea and some water. But that simple stop turned into a total nightmare. They were lured away, trapped, and then murdered by the very same people Raghav saw on that platform. And their deaths were just senseless, so brutal. The police investigation, it went absolutely nowhere. The case just went cold. But their violent deaths left a stain on this place. A curse, really. It trapped their spirits here and twisted them from innocent girls into these vengeful, terrifying phantoms. All right, now let's get back to that old man from the train. He's completely haunted by what he saw happen to Raghav. So he travels to the sisters' home village, a place called Sambalpur, because he's determined to find out why they died. He thinks, just maybe, he can find a way to bring them some peace. So his quest for the truth turns into this full-blown investigation. He finds out the girl's uncle, a man named Nathulal, has just died himself. Nathulal's wife tells him that her husband was always troubled, tormented by something. And then a huge clue. She finds a mysterious address in his pocket. That address leads the old man to a powerful spiritual mystic, a tantric. And this tantric, well, he holds the key to this whole thing. And this is the moment the whole horrifying truth comes out. This wasn't some random act of violence. The tantric confirms it. The sister's own uncle, Nathulal, was the one who hired the tea seller and the garbage collector to murder his own nieces. When you see it laid out like this, the sheer tragedy of it all just hits you. The sisters showed up at that station with these simple, innocent hopes. They trusted their family would take care of them. But their uncle, his only motive was pure greed. He wanted their land, their inheritance, and he was willing to betray them in the most horrific way imaginable to get it. But here's a twist of some really grim, supernatural justice. Nathulal never got to enjoy that money, because when word got back to him about these vengeful spirits haunting the station, the very monsters he created, the guilt and the absolute terror were just too much for him. He died of a heart attack. He was literally haunted to death by his own crime. So now the old man has the truth, this awful, devastating truth. And he knows he can't just walk away. He and the tantric, they travel back to that cursed platform. But they aren't going there to fight the spirits. They're going there to face them and hopefully finally end this cycle of revenge. They get there right as the clock strikes 3 a.m. The witching hour, the time when the barrier between our world and the next is supposed to be at its thinnest. And right on cue, the air gets ice cold, and the two spirits of Rita and Sita appear on the platform, laughing, ready for their next victim. But the tantric does something completely unexpected. He doesn't pull out a weapon, he doesn't start chanting some exorcism. Instead, he just speaks to them. He offers them the one thing they've been denied all this time, the one thing all that rage is really about, the truth, the reason why they died. And that one act, telling them the truth, leads us to the story's incredible climax. See, the truth isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning of a ritual that's meant to heal that deep, deep wound of betrayal and finally set them free. The tantric's approach here is so deliberate, so powerful. He doesn't just tell the sisters what their uncle did. Oh no, he actually summons the spirit of their murderer, Nathulal himself, right there on the platform. He forces a confrontation between the betrayer and the betrayed. And just like that, Nathulal's spirit appears on that haunted platform. But he's not the greedy, scheming man he was in life. Now he's just pathetic. He's terrified, crying, and begging his nieces to forgive him for what he did. When the sisters hear his confession, you can almost feel their rage start to fade away. They say something so painful but so true. Often, it is our own who betray us. Their need for revenge is gone. All they want now isn't more violence. It's peace. It's liberation. And once they accept this, the tantric performs the final part of the ritual. He sprinkles holy water, and the sisters' vengeful forms start to burn away. But it's not a painful burning. It's more like a purification. Their spirits are finally being cleansed of all that rage and sorrow that tied them to this horrible place. And that just leaves us with this one final haunting question. I mean, yes, Rita and Sita became monsters, but they were made that way, forged in the fire of this unbelievable betrayal. So it really makes you wonder, who are the real monsters here? The spirits who were just looking for justice, or the humans whose greed created them in the first place?